have a nose, a huge nose. It can be a beautiful nose, but it's out of proportion. A famous joke, you say, well, this lady has beautiful eyes, especially the left, the big one, because once it's out of proportion, it's terrible. And we create a lot of caricatures, people that are they're very good at certain areas and terribly degenerate in other areas. You understand? So now we understand that there is a power within us that is pushing us to distort ourselves. It's frightening. Now let's go to the society. The society is collaborating with this vicious circle. Why? Because the society, let's assume that I'm successful in certain areas. These certain areas usually are rewarded by the society. The society doesn't care about you. They care only about what you contribute to society. You get a stipend, you get a melega, not of your relationship with your girlfriend, with your wife, whatever it is, only for what you achieve. Now, so you, like a dog, are trained by society, where they give you positive and negative reinforcement, but they do care only about the areas where you're successful, and they don't care the least about the other areas. So now you are in both fronts in trouble. On one front, they enforce only certain areas, and they neglect totally the other areas. This is from outside. Now from inside, what happens is that I'm pushed only to invest in areas that I'm good at, pushed to neglect the areas that I'm bad at. Do you understand? So from inside and outside, I'm pushed to distortion. Now you can understand why the general person is distorted. You understand the problem? Now you understand why it's important to have an equation, that even though I don't calculate it, I can learn a lot from the relationship between the components.
It seems impossible to break this vicious cycle.
And I'll teach you the trick. So, you see, for me, the first step was to analyze the willpower. Then we'll come to the next stage. How can we interfere in this machine? Once you understand that, you can understand that you have a machine with a basic flow that would lead you to distortion. And if you're not going to interfere in this machine, you are doomed to a lot of troubles. So now you can see why it's so important to understand the machine. Right? Let's look a little bit about this, for example. Let's assume that now I want to play a trick, all right? Let's go to just one example. I'm here and the goal is here. And now the teacher would give me only a partial. You should achieve only here. Partial assignment. And if you achieve that, you're great. So you can see that if my goal is more limited, the difficulties are much lower, right? So the willpower would be much greater. So if I'm able, but you might say, look, but only partial achievement is nothing. So no, the contrary. For me, partial achievement is very big, because I measure you according to your effort, but not according to your achievement. Because here comes the meaning. So you can see now that I interfered in the system in a few ways. First, I gave you a lot of meaning to achieve this partial, because I gave you meaning to the effort. And besides, I gave you a much limited the desire, right? As the desire is much smaller, right? Because I gave you a limited end. Still, I gave it a very high weight. So you see, by playing the factors then, I can give you high willpower to try to achieve even that. It's... Actually, we know, it's very strange, that when you look at physiotherapy, you can see that disabled kids and people who passed accidents, and there is someone working with him. Really what he's trying to do is really set to him small goals, give him a lot of encouragement for every small step, and a lot of meanings for the partial achievements. We wish all our life would be like that, because these people can achieve a lot, with a lot of exercise. We would like to get the same powers. And actually, all of us in certain areas are disabled. Understand? Every one of us has strong areas and weak areas. And if we would have a trainer with us all the time, that we can grow even areas where we are disabled. But we need this trainer. We cannot hire him, but we can build him inside. I can be my own trainer. Understand? Once I'll be my own trainer, I can help myself to grow even in areas where I'm very weak at. And then I can build a balanced person. You see? In order to break this vicious circle, now we have to see the concept of the Torah. The concept of the Torah is like that. You should add to this equation two more factors. One is motherly love times fatherly love, but these times from God. And I'm going to teach to you, and I'm going to help you to internalize you, that God loves you, God accepts you, and God encourages you. And it's very important to know both things. In Christianity, they have built a distorted picture of just motherly love. They accept you as you are. It doesn't matter if you progress or not, as long as you come to confess, it's not. You don't have to progress. As long as you believe, you let him argue, you let him accept you, right? You understand this distorted way? Jewish point of view is not like that. But on the other hand, we say that God loves you even if you sin, right? So, but on the other hand, you know, everything is written down, everything will be taken into account. So it's a balancing between these two powers. God gives you motherly love and fatherly love. And all the ways that we relate to God is all the time the balancing between these two powers. So now you should understand, in therapy many times we take this kid or whatever we try to correct his relationship with his parents. And it was so impossible. Now there is a fantastic way. I started all over again with God. Okay? And now I build his relationship with God. And he knows God loves you enormously. And God encourages you. Now, it's very difficult, because if he loves me, so he loves me even if I achieve very little. On the other hand, he encourages me. So how you can reconcile these two, how you balance them? For that you should see that instead of achievement, what existing, now I would add another factor to the equation. Now I would not care about your achievements, but about the change, delta of your existence, of what is existing, the change, all right, times the effort in this area, times, of course, the weight. This I'm going to add to the equation, you see? So now, God does not care so much about what is existing, but about the change and the effort. Now, of course, I can add some factor here, that this now becomes much more important than what is existing. So look now at this equation. What happens? All of a sudden, I'm able to measure myself, not only by my achievements, but by change. Change. Now, change is very easy. I do a small change and I can feel great. Because if in society I measure myself by achievements, you know, it will take years until I achieve. But if I'm able to measure myself by change in one day, in 1 hour, sometimes 1 minute, I can feel great. You see? So this gives me a fantastic inner power. Once I know to measure myself like God is measuring. And I gave you the key to success. I should know to measure myself the way God is measuring me. And if you see at the topic of the lecture, the route to real high success, to a balanced person, you should know to measure yourself the way God is measuring you. And now the whole picture now is different. This factor can repair the damages that your parents did. And these factors can repair the damages that society has done to you. Understand? So on one hand, still there is importance to achievements. But the balance between that and that is change. And I give more and more weight to the changes and efforts. Right? Now, the set of weights are not decided by me. The set of weights are decided by the Torah. Then I cannot play with them. Usually the problem is that I play with them. Now I'm not able to play with them anymore. I know what is important and what is not important. But on the other hand, even if I'm very bad, let's go to be this guy that his marriage is terrible. All right? He feels his self-esteem is terrible. But once he was able to look at himself like that, and he did one small thing. He came to this year and did one small exercise at home, and his wife was smiling. See? He thinks so highly of himself. All right? Once he thinks so highly of himself, he has a willpower to invest more and more and more. You see? You see, our whole way of looking at life is changed. Now I can build a balanced person. Now, if I look at these weights, the Torah designed the weights in a balanced way. Society does not design the weights in a balanced way. Society gave you weights only to the things which are good to have. The society, they don't care about other things. They don't care about your marriage. They don't care about your temper. They don't care about your health. They don't care only about products. So the weights that the society gives is totally distorted. But once I adopt things that were designed in a perfect way, I adopt a series of weights, with it we designed to build. So now I adopt this series of weights on one hand. On the other hand, I know to measure myself the way God is measuring me, according to effort and change. Because if you don't use the effort and you change nothing, something is wrong with you, right? And if you change with no effort, something is also wrong. So actually, it's always the multiplication between the two, etc. Now you can see that I have a total different leverage. This is what Archimedes said: give me 1 point out of the world and you can move the whole world. So you say, how can you break the vicious circle? I showed you, now I can break it. And now it's very interesting. I went to jail. I talked to people. And usually when you talk to prisoners, you want to rehabilitate them. You see it's a big problem. Because his willpower is terribly damaged. Because what society is offering it? Let's say there is a scale to grow here, along success. In this scale, he failed. So what he developed, another scale of crime. This is the success, this is crime. He was doing very well along this, right? Now he's in jail, all right? So they bring me to square one and say, look, forget about this scale, start to climb again. Now he failed before, all right? Now he has to climb again with the weight of an ex-prisoner. So if he failed before in this climbing, what is the chance he's going to succeed now? You see how slim chances? Therefore it's so difficult to rehabilitate. So what we say is, look, there is another scale, orthogonal, right, to this too, which is spirituality as well. If I all of a sudden teach him, effort, change, and he can one day in jail I can do that, and you feel great because God knows to appreciate you, and you should know to appreciate you, because I want you to be like God. Once you know to look at the world as God, you all of a sudden can have a lot of inner strength, and he all of a sudden feels strong. Then he is able to start climbing again. So therefore, we see in all over the world, we see the spirituality gives a fantastic strength to grow. Have you heard about the 12 steps in rehabilitating drug addicts? What happens? These kids, what happened? He fell into drugs. He's so weak. So what do we give him? We teach him to look at himself from the point of view of God. God loves you, right? God encourages you. And you want to do what God wants. Really is a relationship. If you know this is a relationship with God. And what happens is God appreciates every small step. This is exactly what they do. And they see fantastic success. Why is it? Because all of a sudden he knows to appreciate not just achievements, but changes. He knows to appreciate effort and not just goals. Understand? And all of a sudden he's able to deal with his weak points. Now, unfortunately, we have also very weak areas. But we neglect them because society knows to appreciate us in some good areas. But because of that, we become monstrous, distorted. So we don't feel that in certain areas we are addicts, right? Because we're encouraged in society in other ways. But really we're disabled in some areas. But we can deal with it, doing the 12 steps to ourselves, right? Knowing to appreciate change and effort, because that's the way God is looking at us. So once we understand that, we can understand how dangerous it is that when all our way we look at ourselves is the way society is looking at us. And how great it is when we learn to look at ourselves the way God is looking at us. And you got really the key to a real balanced, successful person. Okay? Thank you. Okay, friends?
Thank you.